Welcome, everyone. My name is Christina Hudson. I am CEO of One Redmond, and I'm going to be the host for the program today. Today, we're going to be talking about the new City of Redmond Small Business Resiliency Grant Program. We will review the eligibility, and we will go through the application line by line. Next, we will have Leslie Miller from the Washington Apex Accelerator, who will review how to find and or get your Unique Entity Identifier, or UEI number, which is a federal requirement for this grant award. Before we get started, I want to cover a few housekeeping notes. This webinar is being recorded, and we will send a link of the recording to everyone who is registered. If you need technical help during the webinar, please use that chat box. We also will have links to pertinent documents in this chat box that you will be able to access. If you have questions, please use the Q&A box and feel free to share any and all of those questions here. We will have members of our team that will answer the questions as they come in. We will work very hard to get all those answers out to you during this session. If somehow we're not able to make it, we will definitely get those answered for you, and we will include it in a follow-up email to you. Recordings of this webinar will be posted to our website, and again, this will also be shared with you in our follow-up email. And to start things off, we'd like to welcome the Mayor of the City of Redmond, Angela Birney.
Well, thank you, Christina, and thank you all for choosing Redmond as your business location. Small businesses are the lifeblood of Redmond and create the vibrancy for our community. The City of Redmond values small and homegrown businesses and prioritizes strategies and programs to ensure small, local, and underserved businesses have access to economic assistance and resources. In 2021, the City of Redmond invested $1.8 million in grants to small businesses in Redmond. But we know that recovery is not yet realized for all of our businesses. This grant is targeted at our smallest businesses who have often been left out of other relief assistance. In addition, we're continuing business assistance efforts to ensure all businesses have access to the information and resources to successfully operate and grow. We are thankful to the work of One Redmond, One Eastside, and many of our community partners who work hand in hand to help businesses access vital information and resources. And I hope you find today's webinar extremely valuable. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Birney. We appreciate you. And we are so proud to be a partner with the City of Redmond on this grant program. And speaking of valued partners, we have also partnered with the following community-based organizations that you see here on the screen. Representatives from these organizations are here on this call today, and along with our team, they are available to help support businesses that are applying for this grant. So a big thank you to Centro Cultural Mexicano, Indian American Community Services, Muslim Association of Puget Sound, and assisting our Russian community, Larisa Chuprina, Linguistic Diversity Consultant. So let's go ahead and begin the program. All right, so again, today's webinar is designed to help you prepare for your City of Redmond grant application that is now open, and it will be closing on the 13th of November. As the mayor mentioned, the City of Redmond has created a $500,000 grant fund to help support the small businesses. Grants will be awarded through a lottery process, and 100 small businesses will be selected to receive one $5,000 grant award. This next slide shows the timeline for this grant period. The grant application can be completed and submitted online at any time during the application period. The portal opened on Monday, October 16th, and it will close on Monday, November 13th at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Drafts of the application can be saved, so you do not need to complete it all in one sitting. Just make sure you submit it before the deadline. Successful awardees will be notified via email from the email smallbusinessgrant@oneredmond.org by the 1st of December. And I have that smallbusinessgrant@oneredmond.org. That's the email that'll give the notifications. So make sure you keep an eye out for that in December. Or end of November by the 1st of December. Apologies for that. All right, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into the eligibility requirements in a few minutes, and we're going to be covering it in more detail when we go through the application. But at a very high level, applicants and business need to have active or current small businesses in the City of Redmond with the zip code of 98052. Businesses need to have been established or founded prior to March 3rd, 2021, and they need to plan to remain open through December 31st, 2024. Business needs to maintain an active Washington State and City of Redmond business license, and the business cannot be in violation of any codes or regulations. The business needs to have 10 or fewer employees or full-time employees or equivalent, and we can go into more detail in that when we get to the application on how to determine that. Businesses need to have made at least $12,000 in gross revenues in 2019 or 2020 or 2021. The businesses need to have made less than $4 million in annual gross revenues in 2019 or in 2020 for a business that opened in 2020 or 2021. The business needs to have generated at least 51% of its revenue in Washington State. The business needs to be a for-profit, independently owned and operated, and businesses must have been negatively impacted by the pandemic. Businesses must not be a contractor of a shared ride company, a third-party delivery driver, or a host operator of a vacation or short-term rental unit. So now that we've briefly reviewed the eligibility requirements, let's go ahead and start the application, which will dive again into these eligibility requirements a little bit in more detail. So the application is available on the online portal that can be accessed through our website or through a direct link. Applications can also be mailed upon request, and submissions need to be postmarked by November 13th. The online application is supported by all browsers. The application can be accessed by your PC, your tablet, or your phone. And to begin, you would go to our grant page on the One Redmond website, and you'll see here that on the screen. It is oneredmond.org/grants. And I would make sure to bookmark this website, as there may be updates, and we are revising our frequently asked questions. I should say adding to the frequently asked questions periodically. Again, the URL is here in red, oneredmond.org/grants. You can come back to this page to update your draft application if you haven't submitted it yet, or you can also check in on your submission. And when you log in to our site, you will then be directed to this screen. This is the page that you want to bookmark. Please note, we do have translation features on this site, and you can see the red translate button. Just click up there in the upper right-hand corner and select the language. The application is embedded on this website, but again, there are links on that page to go to the portal directly if that is preferred. When you click on that Apply Now button on the site, you will be directed to this next screen. This first screen, you will see the sign in, sign up instructions. First, you will need to create a profile in the system. This can be done by clicking the sign up button in the Need an Account section at the bottom. This is circled in blue. If you have already created a profile, you will click in the Sign In section and fill it in your email and password as shown. If you do have an existing profile, you would then just log in with your password. If you forgot your password, you can select the Forgot Password link, and that is here in the blue text with the red circle. To create a login to the portal, you will enter your email and choose a password that meets the requirements listed in the circle. Once completed, you will click on the Sign Up button, and here is where the arrow is pointing toward. Next, you will see the section where you will create your profile. You will click on the Create Profile to Get Started text. Here on this next form, you will fill out your profile information and click on the Create Profile button, which is circled in blue. And I'm going to pause here because I want to make sure you all know how to save your application. So if you see that circle right to the left, it says Save a Draft. I'm going to take a few slides, show you how to save the application, and then we're going to come back to this exact same spot. So next, you will see on this screen, you can check to see if your profile is completed. First of all, if you see in that blue circle written in green, it'll say profile completed, or I'll say completed. The Get Started button here is in that box. That is how you would start it. But again, we want to make sure we start the application, sorry. We're going to go ahead and show you how to save the application next. If you need to save your draft at any time throughout the application process, you can go to the top or bottom of the application and you will click on the Save Draft text, and you'll see that circled in red. So if you are still working on your profile or on your application and you need to come back to it, click that text that says Save Draft. Once it is done saving, you will see the last saved at information, and you see that here circled in blue. Make sure this is the time that you saved your application. So after you've confirmed that and after saving, you would then click Close, which is the button to the right of the Mark Complete button. Once you saved, you can return to the One Redmond grant page at any time and log in to pick up where you left off. After you have saved your application and click Closed, you will see this on your screen. Notice the blue letters Action Required in the blue circle. This tells you that you have not finished your application yet. You simply need to click on the Open button to the right, and you will be brought back to the application so you can complete it. One thing to note, if you shut your computer down after you've saved it and you need to log back into your profile to up your application, after you log in, you will see your application listed in the box. At the bottom of the box, you will see a status listed in a colored bar, and you see that blue arrow pointing to it, and you see the blue bar circled in red. If the bar isn't blue, it means that there is action required on your part, and it tells you that your application is in progress. You will click that blue bar to go back to your application. If the box is in gray, then your submission is under review. If this box is red, that means there's some sort of error, and we would like you to reach out to us so we can assist in fixing the issue. And if this bar is red, or if you have any questions, please contact us. And I've got our phone number and our grant email here in the bottom right-hand corner. So our bar is blue, so we'll go ahead and click on the Application in Progress bar to finish our application. So on the following screen, you will access your draft application by clicking the Open button, and you will see this again on the right-hand side. So now we know how to save our applications. Let's go back to where we left off. So we've just created the profile. We see that it's complete, again, in the blue circle. Now we're going to go into that box, and on that plus sign, we're going to go ahead and click Get Started. So I'm going to take the applications in sections. This first part reviews the eligibility requirements that we went at a pretty high level. I'm going to go a little bit deeper because there may be some questions on this. If you cannot answer yes to all of these statements about your business, then unfortunately you are not eligible for this grant. All right, so the first eligibility question is, an applicant is an active current small business in the city of Redmond with the zip code 98052 and does not intend to close by the end of 2023. There you would click yes or no. And again, you need to answer yes to all these, all these questions in order to apply for this grant. The second eligibility question The business was established or founded prior to March 3rd, 2021. You need to have an active status during the ARPA period and plans to be open through December 31st, 2024. The ARPA period, ARPA is the American Relief Protection Act. This is where the funding is coming from. That period is March 3rd, 2021 through December 31st, 2024. So that is the period that they want to make sure that you had active status in and that you plan to be open through 2024. Again, you would select yes if that applies to your business. The next eligibility is the business must maintain active Washington State and City of Redmond business licenses, including the 9-digit unique business identifier or UBI number, and is not in violation of any codes or regulations. So there you would go ahead and select yes, as that applies to your business. The next group of eligibility questions. The business needs to have 1 to 10 full-time employees or equivalent full-time employees. So for example, 2 part-time employees working a total of 40 hours a week, that would be 1 full-time employee. Sole proprietors or single-owned LLC should enter 1 in this field. I'm sorry, should enter yes. Sorry. They should enter yes. We consider sole proprietors and LLCs 1 employee. So if you are a sole proprietor or single owner LLC, you can select yes in this field. The next eligibility is the business must have made at least $12,000 in gross revenue from the sale of goods or services in 2019, 2020, or 2021. If this applies to your business, you would select yes. The next eligibility is the business must have made less than $4 million in annual gross revenues from the sale of goods and services in 2019 or in 2020 for a business that opened in 2020 or 2021. And if this applies to your business, you would select yes. The last group of eligibility requirements, the business must have generated at least 51% of its revenue in Washington State. This designates you as an in-state business. If this applies to your business, you would select yes. Need to confirm that your business is a for-profit and independently owned and operated, not part of those big chains. I do want to note franchise owners are eligible to apply. So if this applies to your business, you would select yes. The next eligibility, the business has been negatively impacted by the pandemic due to decreased revenue or gross receipts, increased cost, financial hardships, challenges covering payroll, rent, or mortgage. If this applies to your business and you can confirm that the pandemic has affected your business negatively, you would go ahead and select yes. The last one is the business is not seeking a grant as a contractor of a shared ride company like Uber Lyft, third-party delivery drivers like Amazon or DoorDash, or a host operator of a vacation or short-term rental unit like Airbnb or VRBO. And again, if you cannot answer yes to any of these to any one of these statements, then unfortunately you're not eligible to apply for this grant. If you have questions on any of these eligibility requirements, please reach out to us or put them in the Q&A box. So again, we're going to say that our business, that does apply to our business. So we've answered yes to all the questions. So now we're going to go into the application. The application will ask specific questions about the business that is the subject of this application. The first question asks the business legal name. This is the name that is on all the paperwork with the state of Washington. Please note that sole proprietors will enter their own name in this space. If you have a DBA, that is an acronym for doing business as. Usually this is a trade name that you use, and it is different than your legal name of the business. The DBA is not a required field, so if you don't have one, you don't need to fill it out. If you do have one, this is where you'd put it in. Question 3 asks about the type of business. You will see the options that are available in the box to the right where the arrow is pointing. Questions 4 and 5 are asking the owner's first and last name. Questions 6 through 9 is asking the address of the business. This next section asks who is applying for the grant and their contact information. If the owner is applying for this grant, you will go ahead and list your name again in this section. Next, you will be asked your founding date or when you started the business. When you click on the field to enter a date, a calendar will pop up like the one you see here on the right side of the screen. There are 2 options or 2 ways to fill out this field. You can manually type in the full date, or you can use the calendar and the arrows you see at the top of the calendar box. These arrows will bring you forward or backward month by month. The next question is about the number of full-time employees that a business has. And this is a question that comes up often. How do you calculate the full-time employee numbers? The simplest way to calculate this is to add the total number of hours worked by all of your employees in 1 week and divide that by 40. They could be part-time or full-time, but as long as you have a total number of hours and divide it by 40, the answer will give you the number of full-time equivalent employees that you have. If you are a sole proprietor or a single owner LLC with no employees, we ask that you enter 1 in this field. This next section asks about 2 identification numbers for your business. Question 16 asks for your Washington State Unified Business Identifier Number, or UBI. This may also be called your state tax registration number or business license number. If you don't know this number, we have provided a link here where you can go to the Washington State Department of Revenue site and look up your number. Once you have it, you will enter this 9-digit number here with no spaces or dashes. Question 18 asks if you have a Federal Employer Identification Number, or EIN. This is the number that the federal government uses for business taxes, and you will see it on your federal tax return. This will also be a 9-digit number, and you will enter this number on line 18. Please note, sole proprietors should use their social security number in this box. Moving on, questions 19 and 20 are asking about your unique entity identifier, or the UEI number that we talked about at the top of the program. One of the requirements of receiving this grant is that the business needs to have a UEI number before receiving any dollars. If you already have a UEI number, you would go ahead and select yes, and then you would enter that UEI number in question 20. If you don't already have a UEI number, no problem. First, you would select no. Then after you submit your application on this portal, you would then apply for a UEI number. On this application, we provide a link to our sam.gov website that brings you to where you need to go. You'll see in that lower right-hand corner with the arrow, you would be brought to the page that looks like that, and you would click that Get Started button. And our next speaker is going to be going over that process on how to get a UEI number after we've gone through the grant application in its entirety. So stay tuned for the UEI information with our next speaker. All right, this next set of questions addresses the industry sector you are in. You will see the full list of options available here in the box in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. If you don't see your industry listed, you can select Other, and then you will be required to enter the industry name yourself. Question 22 asks if you have applied for and if you have received pandemic grant or funding before. Please note that this answer does not disqualify you from receiving the grant. Applicants who have not already received relief and recovery funding will have 2 entries into the lottery system. Those businesses who did receive grant funding in the previous years will have 1 entry into the lottery system. Question 23 asks you more about your business. It asks for you to describe your business in 500 or less words. Question 24 asks you to talk a bit about your financial hardship that your business experienced due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Question 25 relates to the ownership status of the business. This means that the owner or owners would have managerial control, they would oversee operations of, and contribute capital and expertise to at least 51% of the business. You would select the appropriate box that applies to the owners, and you can select multiple boxes if more than one of these apply to your business. All right, now we're in the home stretch as we're in the last part of the application process. This final section is the acknowledgement section or certification section, where you will read and agree to the following statements. And we'll run through these one by one. Acknowledgement 1. I confirm that I am authorized to submit this proposal on behalf of the business. And you would select the checkbox to confirm acknowledgement 1, which says I agree. Acknowledgement 2. I confirm this business does not unlawfully discriminate with regard to employees, volunteers, delivery of programs or services, or clients served based on age, sex, religion, creed, race, color, national or ethnic origin, sexual orientation, gender identity and expression, disability, marital status, military or veteran status, pregnancy or genetic information. And then again, you would select the checkbox to confirm acknowledgement 2, and you would check I agree. Acknowledgement 3, I confirm the business provided is accurate and I confirm the information, acknowledgement 3, I confirm the information provided is accurate and duly reflects the applicant's business activities. I attest that, if awarded the Redmond Small Business Grant funding, the award will be used to cover expenses occurred between March 3rd, 2021 through December 31st, 2023, due to financial hardships caused by COVID-19 pandemic, and that this funding will be used for expenses not covered by other COVID-19 related public or private funding sources. I acknowledge my business might be asked or may be asked to provide receipts or additional documentation for up to 6 years following the receipt of any grant funding. If any of the expenses paid with grant money are found ineligible according to the federal treasury or application guidelines, I agree to reimburse the City of Redmond the full amount of the grant award. Again, you would select the checkbox to confirm acknowledgement 3, and by checking it, you're indicating you agree. Acknowledgement 4. I confirm that my business is active and does not have any compliance or regulatory issues with the state or federal agencies as of March 3rd, 2021. And we would select the checkbox again to confirm acknowledgement 4, indicating that you agree. Acknowledgement 5. I confirm that my business is not actively pursuing a bankruptcy declaration or actively engaged in current or pending lawsuits. Select the checkbox to confirm acknowledgement 5, and by checking that box, you agree. Acknowledgement 6. I confirm that my business is not in any one of the following categories: licensed marijuana cannabis operations, government entities or elected official offices, passive business, investment companies and investors who file a Schedule E on their personal tax returns, financial business primarily engaged in the business of lending, such as banks, finance companies, and factoring company, businesses engaged in any socially undesirable activity or activities that may be considered predatory in nature, such as rent-to-own businesses and check cashing businesses, businesses of a prurient sexual nature, adult businesses, businesses primarily engaged in political or lobbying activities, businesses that restrict patronage for any reason other than capacity or age restrictions due to regulations, business disbarred by the federal government. And again, you would select the checkbox to confirm acknowledgement 6, which is I agree. Acknowledgement 7, I confirm that neither of my businesses nor its principals are presently disbarred, suspended, proposed for disbarment, declared ineligible, or voluntarily excluded from participation in this transaction by any federal department or agency. And again, we would select checkbox to confirm acknowledgement 7. We would check I agree. Acknowledgement 8, I confirm that if I have not provided my UEI number in the application, my business is in the process of applying for one. I acknowledge my business must provide a valid UEI number to receive grant funds, and not providing a valid UEI number will make me ineligible to receive a grant if awarded. And then we would check the checkbox to confirm acknowledgement 8, which means you agree. And if you are still working on your application and you need to come back to it again at any time, remember to go ahead and click save at the top or bottom of the page at any time. You can return to the One Redmond grant page at any time, log in to pick up where you left off, and just make sure you submit it for the end of the deadline. So this last section asks you to enter the information and confirm that by entering the data into these fields, which is your name, title, phone number, email, you are representing that you are an officer or other agent duly authorized to enter into legally binding agreements for the applicant. Next, you agree to submit that this grant application in an electronic form, which shall be bound by its contents as an electronic transaction. And 3, agreeing that your insertion of data into these following fields constitutes an electronic signature. Again, always want to remind you, because I know there's, hopefully that won't take you too long to do the application, but if you need to do it at different settings, you can save your information and finish it up later. But again, make sure you submit it by the deadline. Moving on to how to complete the application. Once you have finished your application and you're ready to submit, you would click that Mark Complete button that is blue, but this is only the first of 2 steps. Once your application is marked complete, you will then get to this page. And go ahead and flip the page there. There you go. If all is well, you will see the word complete. It'll be in green, as you see here on this screen. When you're ready to finally submit the application, you need to make sure to click that green submit button. And I have this green button circled in red. If you don't click that green submit button, the application will not be submitted. So if you have not clicked that submit button and you've completed your application, you can still go back and edit it. Once you click the submit button, you cannot go back to edit it. So again, prior to submitting, you can use that edit button, which is to the right of the word complete, and it's below the submit button. And you can go into your application and edit whatever you needed. And then again, when you're ready to submit, you need to click that green submit button. If for some reason you accidentally submitted your application and you need to update it or something happened, send us an email and we'll work to reactivate the application so you can make your updates. All right, once your application is submitted, you will see this confirmation that the application has been officially submitted. So I think that covers the application. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. There we go. I also want to note that we have a frequently asked questions page as well. And that is that link to this frequently asked questions page is on the main grant page. And we will update that as we get common questions that come in. If you need language assistance, I ask you, please reach out to us or to our partners directly. And again, here are our amazing partners that we have working on this program. And then we also have in-person hands-on help sessions at the library. And we will post a link here in the chat of where you can sign up for a session. And again, this will also be sent in the follow-up email to you. So here is our team's contact information in case you have any questions about the grant process or the application. We're here for you. So give us a call, send us an email. I want to again thank the City of Redmond for creating this grant program to help support our small businesses. I want to thank you all for being here today. And Leslie, we appreciate this information very much. And I also want to say thank you again to our partners of this program, Centro Cultural Mexicano, Indian American Community Services, Muslim Association of Puget Sound, and Larissa Chuprina. And again, I want to thank you all for participating today. And if you have any questions after this presentation, please reach out to us at the email listed here on the screen. So until we see you again, this concludes our program. Thank you.